Yes, online students, you can hear me, right? Simran and others? Yes, great. Good evening, guys. How are you? Only 3 students today here. Why? Yes, they were actually not, 2 optional classes did not take place. I think 1 optional is over. All those things are there. Anyway, so let's get started with our weekly current affairs. Few important things. One is fully accessible route bonds. This is FAR bonds. Fully accessible route. Now there are different routes of direct investment or indirect investments. Different routes of foreign investments that are there in India. Now one of the route is your foreign indirect investment, which is also known as foreign portfolio investment, the FPI. Now in that foreign portfolio investment are also a lot of regulations or restrictions that are there, but the government has a concept of fully accessible route bonds, FAR bonds. So you can invest in India through those bonds and there is no upper limit of investment in that. Okay? So any high net worth individual up to whatever limit they want, they can invest it. So this is a benefit that they will have. They can invest as much as they want, and this is going to be a government security. So government security, a gilt-edged security, a sovereign security whose the most secure security that it is. So there will also be safety. So now this fully accessible bond has, I think, reaped some 5,000, 6,000 crore. We'll see those details. So that is why it is in news. So we'll understand what this bond is, what is the concept of bond, or what is the concept of FII and FPI. Next is towards prohibition of polygamy. What is polygamy? Everyone knows. That's good. Polygamy is when one person marries more than one person, marries 2 or more people. Okay? So now the state of Assam has basically banned polygamy, brought in a law to ban it. Not just that, it has basically criminalized it. So if anyone is found to be having more than one spouse, 7 years of jail, 7 years plus. 7 years of jail if you are already married and you marry another person, and if you have hidden that fact of marriage and then married someone else, then it will be 10 years of jail. So we will see about that. We will see the distribution of the multiple marriages. We will see the type of polygamy also that exists, polygyny and polyandry. We will also see what all laws are there against it already. Next is the pan masala cess and higher duties on tobacco product. So the government has come up with 2 bills. Basically those 2 bills are there to impose the cess on pan masala and the duties, basically cess on the tobacco products. So we will see what is the rationale behind it, and what is the concept of cess, how is it different from usual tax. Next is rupee fall is real this time. Forget that, that is just the headlines of the news. Rupee fall is real this time. That means rupees is falling. So when this article came in at that time, I think the Indian rupee was 89.46. And after this article came, it went beyond 90 also. Okay, so rupee has fallen. But the article argues as to why this fall is real this time. So we will try to understand that. Generally, what has happened is when rupee fall, any currency falls, it might fall against a particular currency, but it can at the same time strengthen against another currency. But here rupee is falling against all the international currencies that are there. It is falling against dollars, against pound, against yen, against euros, against every currency it is falling. That is why it is being said that this time the fall is real. And then the next is the end of progress against extreme poverty approaching. End of progress. See this. What do you mean by this? Can you tell me what is the meaning of this topic? Eradication of poverty. Because the understanding of this topic is also difficult. While making this presentation and all, I read the topic, then I started reading the news and making presentation, then I realized, oh, it's meaning something else only. What does it mean? No idea. Yes, what does it mean? Sorry, please come again. I did. Okay. Very good, very good, very good. That is exactly what it means. So let's please understand this, guys. So if you're talking about is the end of progress against, is it the end of progress? Progress of what? Progress against extreme poverty elimination. So the world was trying to end poverty. Now the poverty is not ending, that progress is now ending. So when we all started to end the poverty and the extreme poverty, we were making progress. We were getting huge number of people out of poverty. But now slowly and steadily all that is declining. So is the progress now ending and it is getting stabilized, and it may reverse. Reverse means extreme poverty might increase also. So is that happening or not is what is going to be discussed in this topic. Okay. So first, yes, 5,760. So let's start with the very first news, that is fully accessible bonds. All right. What are bonds? Very good. Bonds are the debt instruments, right? The government also issues bonds. Okay? Those will be government bonds or sovereign bonds. Sovereign gold bond is also there. In one of our current affairs, we have seen the sovereign gold bond. So this bond is nothing but an instrument of debt. That means it is issued to borrow money from the market. That is correct. Now, whenever you borrow money, you have to pay interest. Correct? Now, when we take loan, we call it as interest. Right? In bond, you might call it as a yield. You might call it as a coupon or a coupon rate. So instead of interest rate, you might call it as a yield or you might call it as a coupon rate. Coupon rate. So simply, it's nothing but it is interest only. There are different kinds of bonds. One bond is zero coupon bond. So you have normal bonds. In normal bonds, what happens is, let's say I have taken a bond of 1 lakh rupees, which is going to give me a 10% of coupon rate is there. Now on 1 lakh, the bond is of 1 year, is going to give me 10%. That means it's going to give me 10,000 rupees over a year. Now, if it's a normal bond, it is going to give me the interest month on month. Interest will come to me month on month. At the end of 1 year, I get my principal back. Then there is a concept of zero coupon bond. Zero coupon bond. What is zero coupon bond? In zero coupon bond, what will happen? I will not get the interest month on month. I will get the entire money at the end of the maturity period. That is zero coupon bond. There is a concept of municipal bonds as well. Municipal bonds are the bonds that are issued by municipal corporation. Okay? Bengaluru Municipal Corporation was the first to issue this municipal corporation bond. In municipal corporation bonds, there are general obligation bonds. General obligation bonds means those bonds issued by municipal corporation which are issued to collect money or to pool in money for providing the general obligatory services to the population. For example, sewerage services or sanitation or garbage removal. You have to, in a city, you have to provide all these services. Now the municipality has to wait for the state government to transfer funds, because municipalities have very low rights to get the funds, to tax. So till the time they are waiting for the state government to transfer the funds, they can issue general obligation bonds, general obligation municipal bonds to carry out the general obligatory services that are there, right? Then the other type of municipal bonds can be the revenue bonds that are there, which are issued for certain projects which are going to generate revenue for that municipal corporation, right? Then there is inflation index bond. Inflation index bond means, see, when I have a bond which gives me 10% return, what if the inflation is 10%? If the inflation is 10%, my real income is what? 0. So there will be an inflation index bond in which you will get some percent over and above inflation. You will get CPI, which is a measure of inflation, consumer price index, plus 1.5%. So what will happen? Whatever is the inflation in the economy, that plus 1.5% is what I will get. That is the inflation index bond. There are bonds which are tax savings bond. If you invest in those bonds, you can show it as an investment for the purpose of saving your taxes also, right? Then there were gold, sovereign gold bonds, whose value was determined by the underlying commodity, that is gold. which has now been stopped by the government. Why it has been stopped? Because the returns were very high, gold prices is increasing a lot. You have taken the money, after 8 years you have to give 324% of income. From where will you give? Where will you invest this money? Except for gold, nothing else is going to give you that much amount of money. Crypto market is anyhow not legal, not illegal. At the same time, it is very vulnerable. So it will become a very Herculean task to give the money back. So the government has stopped that. Now here we have the fully accessible route bonds, right? So the news is about what? As I was saying, the fully accessible route bonds have reached 5,760 crore rupees in November 2025. 5,760 crore rupees, the number is not important, but it has increased a good amount in November 2025 itself. So what does it indicate? Since it has reached a huge amount of value, that means it indicates a huge interest of the other players in the Indian market, the interest of the foreign players in the Indian market, right? For example, if Legacy IAS Academy opens itself for investment and says that we are open for investment, if you don't get any investment means what? No one is interested. If you get a lot of investment means what? People are interested. So when this bond has reached 5,760 crores in November 2025 itself, that means people are invested in India's government debt market. People are invested in India's government debt market. Okay? Now let's understand what are these fully accessible bonds. So these fully accessible bonds, remember, it is for your foreign investments. It is for your foreign investments. The global or the foreign investors, when they want to invest in government bonds, they can use the channel of fully accessible bonds to invest in the government bonds. Okay? So it will provide for unrestricted foreign investment in certain government securities designated as FAR bonds. And there will be no limit of the investment as such. Okay? That doesn't mean you can come up with illegal money. Of course, all those things will be vetted, but there will be no restrictions as such. Okay? So you can see that no investment limits. FPIs, foreign portfolio investors, NRIs, non-resident Indians, OCIs, overseas citizens of India, and eligible entities, other eligible entities or organization, they all can invest without any quantitative cap. So if UPSC gives this as a question statement, they might change this with a quantitative gap of $1 million, this, that, but there is no gap is what you have to remember. Okay? Because its name itself is what? Fully accessible bonds. Okay? Significance it enhances India's global visibility. It gives you a good instrument to invest as much as you want. There is no limit. So you are free to invest whatever amount you want to. So that is going to increase our visibility. It is going to increase our investment also. It supports internationalization of rupee. Now, how is this linked? How is it supporting internationalization of rupees?
If foreigners are investing, that means it becomes international money, then our currency will become.
How will it become?
Rupee
Yes, of course. When you want to invest over here, you want to start a company over here, demand of rupee will increase, so it will help. Reduces reliance on domestic financial institutions. Very important. Indian domestic institutions are also there. So the government could borrow from them also. But you are borrowing from outside, so it's better. That is one good thing. It will avoid the crowding out effect also. Crowding out effect. What is crowding out effect? Basically, when the government borrows too much from the domestic market, it will leave very less funds for the private players to borrow from the domestic market. So the private players will be crowded out. Crowded out means either the loan for them will be higher interest rate or they might not get the money from the market at all. So it basically helps in that as well. Clear? Any questions? No questions? Shall we let's move on to the next topic. Towards prohibition of polygamy. What do you think? Polygamy should be prohibited in each and every throughout India or not? Yes. What about polyamory? What is polygyny? What is polyandry? No, 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 no. Polygyny means a man marrying two or more women. That is polygyny. Gyny is related to women. Misogyny, for example, we say. Okay? So first let's talk about this. Polygamy means marrying two or more. Now in this situation, if basically a man marries two or more women, this is known as polygyny. And if a woman marries two or more men, then it is known as polyandry. Okay? Now there are certain other examples of marriages also, but fair enough, you have polyamory or you have open marriages or you have multiple partners which will be there. 4 or 5 people will be interlinked or involved in relationships with each other. So all those concepts are prevalent in the Western countries. In India, they are not prevalent as such. Okay? So anyway, coming back to this topic, so Assam basically is coming up with the prohibition of polygamy law. Okay? It aims to do what? It aims to criminalize polygamy statewide. It aims to criminalize polygamy statewide. So because of this, who will be under the ambit of this law? People who are in domicile of the Assam state. People who are the Assam state domicile. You get a domicile certificate from your state. Domicile certificate, like you have the nationality, you have the domicile, means which state do you belong to. So for example, I am a Maharashtra state domicile. Okay, so I have that certificate with me. I belong to Maharashtra state. In the same manner, people belonging to the state of Assam, it is applicable for them. That's one thing. Second, second is in USA, for example. In USA, the federal structure is quite strong. The state governments are also very strong. They have a huge amount of freedom. So in those states, what happens is you might have, dual citizenship is also there. And in those states, what happened is, let's say abortion is allowed in one state, prohibited in the other state. So this particular state citizen, if they want to abort, they go to another state and they abort it, right? So you can't do like this. If you are a state domicile of Assam, you cannot go into a different state and then marry, because in that point of time also, this act is going, when it becomes an act, it is going to say that, no, you are a state domicile of Assam. Even if you go to another neighboring state or any other state in India, you will still be accountable for it. That is another thing. Third, those people who are the beneficiary of Assam state government's welfare schemes, right? That means you may not be, let's say, see, for example, I am a beneficiary of Karnataka state's welfare scheme. What is Karnataka state's welfare scheme? They provide 200 units of free electricity, right? So even the tenants get it. So I am taking the benefit of state government of Maharashtra's welfare scheme. So in that manner, you need not necessarily be a domicile of the state of Assam. You have taken the benefit of Assam government's welfare schemes. You are also under the ambit of it. Is that clear? So this is what this. Now, so I have given you all the details. Enables punishment up to 7 years. 7 years plus fine, fair enough. 7 years if you are married. So a man is basically married to a woman. Now this woman knows, but this man is going and marrying someone else also, and this woman knows about it. But there is polygamy. This person will be imprisoned for 7 years. But if this man hides it from this woman, or is already married and hides from this woman and marries this woman, in that case 10 years of imprisonment. In that case it will be 10 years of imprisonment. Yes, we'll come on to that under special, so it is, those posts will come. But yes, talking about exceptions, or let's say talking about the rules, what is the present status in India? So as far as the present status in India is concerned, under the Hindu Marriages Act, polygamy is banned, prohibited basically. Under Special Marriages Act also it is prohibited. So under Special Marriages Act, any religion person is marrying inter-religion, inter-caste, it is also banned, right? But there is also a clause in this bill which is known as a grandfathering clause. Grandfathering clause means what? There might be a rule which comes today, but you are still allowed to carry forward the way you were carrying forward. I am allowing you to proceed as per the law that was there yesterday. That means if some people are married, are having more than one spouse today, and the bill comes in force tomorrow, but they already have more than two spouses, they can have those two spouses legally, not a problem, provided it is allowed in the particular law under which they have married. For example, All India Muslim Personal Law. So the Muslim marriages and divorce works on the Sharia law that is there, right? For that, All India Muslim Personal Law Board is there, which enforces the Sharia law or the All India Muslim Personal Law. Under that law, multiple marriages or polygamy, in fact, specifically polygyny, is what is allowed. So if someone is already married in that under that law, they will continue to be married under that law. They will not have any repercussion. Okay? That is one thing. Also, another thing is, whenever there is criminal laws that are there, criminal laws cannot be retrospective in nature, right? So if the criminal law is coming, no, someone, let's say murder was not criminal, you can kill anyone, but today a law comes which criminalizes murder. So yesterday if someone had done the murder, no penalties on them, right? It does not have retrospective nature. Civil laws have retrospective nature. Taxation law, etc. are retrospective nature. So for example, Indian government has charged Vodafone additional taxes retrospectively. Okay? So that is the concept over here. Criminalization up to 7 years, we have seen that. Now this is the map of India, polygamy map of India. So 0.4, 0.4, 0.6. The state of Telangana 2.9, state of Karnataka 2.4, 2.0, 2.0, 2.2. So this is basically the polygamy map of India. Okay? This is, we have discussed this, polygamy, polyandry. This is the polygamy based on the major religions in India. So you have Buddhists. So Buddhists you have close to 4%, more than 3% over here. Then you have the Muslims approximately 3% over here. The Christians again approximately 3% over here. The Hindus approximately 2.5 or something more than 2% over here. This is the entire India's average, just about 2.5%. In Sikh, you can see the polygamy is quite less. And these are the other population that is there. So the idea is now, the religion wise also if you see, now here under the Sharia law you have the allowance of polygyny, but still you have percentage which is lesser than the percentage of Buddhists that are there, and the other percentages are also not far off the charts. Okay? So this is the situation with respect to polygamy in India. All right, this is based on the different. But one thing is there is a declining trend. The decline here is huge. So National Family Health Survey 3, 4 and 5. So this is in 2005, 6, 15, 16, 19, 20. So decline from around close to 4%, now 1.5%. So this is a huge decline in the last 2 decades approximately. This from close to 3, it comes down to around 2%. Again, it has then again, see, it has again risen a bit, and then all over India has seen a downward trend. In Hindus also there is a downward trend. In others, if you can see, there is rather an increase. The other population of course is quite small, but yes, there is an increase. In Sikh it was very minuscule. It has seen a slight increase, but still they are at the lowest level. Okay? Grandfather clause. So there is a concept of grandfather clause. Grandfather clause was also applicable in long-term capital gains tax. So capital gains taxation system has changed from 24th of July 2024. But some of the people were allowed to proceed with the laws that were in place previously only. So what is grandfather clause? Whenever you are allowed to proceed with respect to the previously existing law, that means you are allowed to grandfather the act or grandfather that clause. For example, new tax slabs had been brought in, but there was old tax slabs also. So you were given an option. Do you want taxation under new scheme or under old scheme? That means grandfathering was allowed. You can carry on with respect to the previous law itself. So polygamous marriages, before this bill becomes a law, those polygamous marriages will be protected provided they are valid under the existing personal and customary laws, as I have told you. And remember, this does not apply to the tribal areas. This does not apply to the tribal areas. Okay? Does not apply to tribal areas. And as I said, polygamy marriages will be protected provided you have a documentary proof. Okay? Next, pan masala cess and higher duties on tobacco products. So what is a cess? It's a tax on tax. It's a type of tax, but to be very specific, it is a tax on tax. So for example, if you take hookah, on hookah there was 72% cess. 72% cess. Now if you have had a hookah worth 2,000, now on that hookah 40% is your GST. So that 40% of GST will be how much? 40% GST will be how much? 800, right? 800 rupees, right? 800 rupees. So I'm just trying to calculate your hookah bills. So if you are smoking hookah, 2,000 rupees for 2 hours, right? So 40% is GST, 800 GST. Now there will be 72% cess. Cess is what? It's a tax on tax. This 72% is not applied on this. This 72% is applied on this. Okay? 7 8s are 56. So round about 576 rupees of cess is what you will pay. So your total hookah bill will be 3,376, something like that. Okay? So this is the cess that you will pay. This is the GST that you will pay. This is the price of the hookah. So cess, remember, it is a tax on tax. Now another importance of cess is this entire proceed of cess goes only to the central government. The state government has no share in that. As a result of which, whenever the central government comes up with a cess, there will be issues in the state saying that you are squeezing our pool of money which gets distributed to the states because you are taking it only as a cess. Okay? But the government has come up with, so the government is going to impose all this in tobacco and stuff. Now, yes, what is the reasoning? Let's understand the rationale behind it. So the rationale behind it is, first is these are having social, they are having negative externalities for the society. Tobacco causes cancer. All over the world, there is $1 trillion of burden from tobacco related cancer. Right? On India also, there is a huge burden. There are millions of deaths that are taking place around the world because of tobacco. And it's a burden because you have to provide the healthcare, this, that, everything. So it's a huge burden. If you increase the price, you will keep it outside the reach of at least the youth. People going to schools, colleges may not be able to afford. This is just one way to look at it. The other way is it can lead to crimes, it can lead to other things, just asking for money. When we talk about if alcohol is costly, there is wife beating in the house, domestic violence just to get the money from the wife or to sell the ornaments, everything. So there are going to be negative repercussions. Just understand the rationale behind it. It makes it costly, makes it outside the reach of the school going, college going students that are there because they are not earning. It may still not keep it outside the reach of the rich people or the people who are affluent or people who are earning, but at least from this they will keep it outside the reach. Because now what is happening, the age when a person is starting to smoke is declining by the day. Is that clear? So this will help in that regard. That is one thing. Second, the government had taken huge amount of loan during the COVID period. Okay? So the government of India had taken a huge amount of loan during COVID period. They need to repay that loan. ठीक है. So to repay that, you are coming up with the cess, which will directly go to the government, and the government using that is going to repay that particular loan. Is that clear? ठीक है. Center requires fresh revenue for loan repayment, not the usual loans year on year. Government anyhow takes loans, but specifically during the COVID period where our fiscal deficit shot up considerably, a lot of loan was taken. Is that clear? One more thing is, yes, one very interesting thing is they are applying this cess on the equipment or machine that are being used in the manufacturing of tobacco, cigarettes, etc. Okay? Why they are doing that is because directly at the source only you apply your cess, end of story. So more production is happening, more industries are being established, or more equipment has been bought, you apply the cess here only, you get your money, end of story. You don't have to collect it from every other individual suppliers, those who are there. Okay? Is that clear? This is, yes, this is not that. See, this is what, this is a cess. Now cess as in you are paying this cess because, so this will be on this product only. Of course, so at the end user will be what? This cost increase will transfer to the consumer only, because your input cost for manufacturing of cigarette has increased. I get her point. The point is what? I am the direct consumer. Since I am the direct consumer, I am the one should be hit, right? So you apply increased cess on hookah, which is already there. So I am the one who is getting hit. Now what the government is doing is, it is applying on the equipment that is manufacturing it. So indirect increase will still be there, but yes, that is correct. Direct increase may not be there. Why it will not be there? If efficiency increase or economy of scale, etc., or maybe the it gets suppressed in another manner. It may lead to more tax evasion at the source by the companies. So the translation of that increase may not be very direct. If you apply cess directly at the end product, what happens? You apply cess. So the hookah became 576 rupees costlier for me. Now if that 576 rupees is applied on the equipment per unit of production, at the end I may not have to bear that much increased cost. It might still go down. Okay? It might still go down, because generally what the industries do is they want to stay in business. When they want to stay in business, when the taxes on them increase, when other things increase because of which their input cost increase, they want to keep their sales at the same level, or they want to increase the sales. So if they want to increase the sales, they will not increase the price. What they will do? Retrenchment, remove the people, right? Job will go on. Yes? Skewflation. Yes, exactly. And they will fire 10 people. 100 people are there, 10 people are fired. You maintain the efficiency, you maintain the cost. So yes, that impact need not necessarily be there. In fact, the government probably understands to this extent, because we know this tobacco and pan masala give you high revenue, but they have low elasticity. Low elasticity means you increase their price, still their demand will not decrease. They have low elasticity. And we have seen this already. We have seen the same thing in online gaming also. From 18% they took it to luxury, sin good, 28%. The online gaming increased by 400%. Now they have taken it to 40%. Still the online gaming is bound to increase in India, because internet penetration is increasing, exposure is increasing, more platforms are coming. So the elasticity as such in this good is anyhow very less. Cesses are on? No. See, of course, see, when you buy a particular thing, that can be used to produce something else also. But it's not just the factor cost. It is on that product. So whatever is the cost of the product. Okay? Whatever is the cost of the product. Are you using that product as a raw material or as a finished good is a different thing altogether. Okay? Introduces new cess on tobacco products. It is going to replace the GST compensation cess. Now what is this GST compensation cess? In 2017, when the GST has come, there were certain state governments which were apprehensive of this tax. Why were they apprehensive? Because they said okay, our revenues may go down, and that did happen in the initial years. Till the last moment, state of Tamil Nadu again was not okay with that. This GST bill was to be passed by special majority, right? It has to take a concurrence of 50% of the state. The states were backing out. So the government said, we will assume your tax collection growth rate at 14%. Compound annual growth rate. Compound annual growth rate of 14%. Okay? And whatever is the shortfall, the central government will provide the shortfall for 5 years, up to 5 years. We will do this for the next 5 years. So in the next 5 years, let's say the tax collection was 100. From 100, it should become 114. But let's say it was 110 only. That means there is a shortfall of 4 rupees. This 4 rupees will be given by the government of India. This shortfall will be filled by the government of India for the next 5 years, starting from the year of imposition of GST. After that, it's your lookout. Okay? Now, what happened is, so 5 years means up to 2022, it was supposed to be taken back. But then what happened is, COVID had happened and India had taken a huge amount of debt. So the government continued this cess. Why? For compensating for the loans that we have taken for the COVID period, right? But now this is simply a change in the nomenclature, wherein what is going to happen is this tobacco cess on tobacco products is going to now replace the GST compensation cess. But the reasoning is still the same. After 2022, we still kept on collecting to compensate for the loans that we have taken. Now also it will be used for the loans that we have taken. Okay? And previously also this compensation cess was there. But this was the idea to introduce the compensation cess to compensate to the states for the losses of revenue that they will incur immediately after the implementation of GST for up to 5 years. Is that clear, guys? Sure. Machine based, because the sector, yes, can be prone to the tax evasion, because informal sector, etc., all those things are there. The equipment and all will generally be used by a formal sector with a formal setup, so that is why the tax evasion can be reduced. That is the argument over here. Okay. Rationale behind the move, I have said one is to have a fresh source of income. Compensation cess is now going to end. State is going to lose predictable revenue, which is going to be there. It will take a hit. Even if you know that it is going to happen, your revenue will anyhow come down, so you are extending it and giving this as the reason. Center still repaying approximately 2.6 lakh crore rupees of COVID era borrowing. Okay. Next is tobacco, high yield sector with low demand elasticity. Okay. Low demand elasticity, even increase is not going to bring it down. This is some more details about 1.3 million tobacco related deaths that are taking place. Pan masala has strong relation of being carcinogenic, especially the areca nut, the supari inside the pan masala and all is also cancer causing, causes the cancer of mouth, throat, etc. Okay? If you go to watch movies, you get to see that documentary of Mukesh, Mr. Mukesh, right? Higher taxes will reduce the affordability. Okay? One thing is there that WHO recommends tax should be more than, equal to or more than 75%. Still in India, it is below 60%. Okay? WHO recommendation, you should remember, 75% or more of the retail price. Cost, higher duties increase cost for, it will increase the cost of cigarette, chewing tobacco, pan. Okay. Likely outcome, increase MRP, we know that. Reduced consumption, but due to low elasticity, consumption may not necessarily reduce to the proportionate level. Okay. This is around, yes, this is $1.4 trillion of economic damages each year globally is what smoking is causing. Okay? Clear? Sure. Let's look with the next topic, that is rupees fall is real this time. So rupee had cost 89 rupees per dollar, 89.46 specifically. After this article, it has gone beyond 90 rupees. Now, why it is being considered as real this time? Because its fall is not limited to dollars. It is there in euros, pounds, yen as well. So all the basket of currencies in the SDR, special drawing rights of the IMF, the rupee is basically falling against each and every currency. That is why this fall might be real this time is what they are creating. This is the 1 year depreciation against major currencies. So for dollars, from 84.5 to 89.5. Euros depreciated. Pounds, the depreciation is this. Yen is cheaper than Indian rupee, but in that also we have seen depreciation. Okay? So rupee has fell against all 4 major currencies, more against the pound and euros. Okay? So why does this matter? Why does this matter? Near and re, don't worry about that now. Why does this matter means this is how we actually calculate our near and real. It matters because we are trading majorly in dollars, but we are also trading in pounds, euros and yen. So depreciation in all the currencies is going to matter. Of course, depreciation against dollars is going to have more impact than depreciation, let's say, against in let's say euros, because our trade in dollars are high. So the impact of fluctuation of Indian rupees in dollars will be more, but it is important that with other currencies also it is stable and not fluctuating a lot. Okay? That is why it matters. So let's first understand what are these near and real. One thing is very clear, in near you have nominal and in real you have real. This EER is basically effective exchange rate. So this is the nominal effective exchange rate, this is the real effective exchange rate. Now why are we using the word effective exchange rate? So what we do is, we take our topmost 40 trading partners and we see in what currencies are we trading with them. So majorly there will be 4 or 5 international currencies that we will be using. So we will be using dollars, we will be using pounds, we will be using euros, we will be using yen, and we will be using, let's say, Chinese renminbi is what we will be using. Now our trade in dollars will be very high. So the weightage that will be given to dollars is going to be high. Then we have pounds, euros, yen and Chinese renminbi. So whatever currencies we are trading in with our 40 topmost trading partner, we take that currency into one basket. We take that currency into that basket. So in that basket you will have dollar, you will have pound, you will have yen, you will have euros, you will have Chinese renminbi, right? And these, let's say, these all currencies together, combined together, given different weightage, will have an exchange rate with respect to Indian rupees, right? So let's say 40%, 60% of dollars, 20% of pounds, sorry, 20% of euros, 10% of pound, 5% of yen and 5% of renminbi, combining together gives you 100% weightage of this basket. Against that basket, Indian rupee would be, let's say, 105. So 105 Indian rupees leads to 1 unit of this basket of currencies. Now that becomes our effective exchange rate. And we are interested in this effective exchange rate. Whenever any currency is going to fluctuate, this effective rate is going to fluctuate. Is that clear? Okay? Not clear? See, so far we have seen exchange rate. Exchange rate is what? See, $1 is equal to 80 rupees. Then $1 rupees depreciated, now it is equal to 90 rupees. Right? There is this dollar over here. In class also we take this example. We deal majorly in dollars. So if there is depreciation, it is going to impact my export and import. If there is appreciation, that is also going to affect my import and export. But is dollar the only currency in which we deal? Of course not. So we take our top 40 trading partners and we take their all individual currency, how much we are trading. So one partner we are trading to the tune of $500 billion, $400 billion in what currency? So what we will do is we realize that let's say with all the 40 trading partners, we are having a trade of let's say 100, just for calculation, $100 billion. Right? Now this $100 billion of trade, 60 billion let's say is in dollars, 20, we'll take very simple, 20 billion is let's say in euros, and let's say 20 billion is there in pounds for example. Okay? This will restart. So these are the three currencies for example. So now what will happen is I am going to be interested in all these three currencies, right? But which currencies I am going to be interested more? Dollars. But how much interest will I show? So I'll repeat. So we have, should I write? Yes, this. We have 100 billion of trade. Okay? 60 billion of trade is in dollars. 20 billion of 20%. Let's take it percentage because this 100 billion will be in one currency. So let's say percentage. $20 billion worth of trade is in let's say pound. $20 billion worth of trade is let's say in euros. Right? I will be most interested in this, but will I be only interested in dollars? No. I will be more interested to the tune of 60% interest is in dollars, 20% interest is in pounds, and 20% interest is in euros. Okay? So my basket consists of 0.6 dollar plus 0.2 euros plus 0.2 pounds. Is that clear? Now for ease of calculation, let's say $1 equals 80 rupees, 1 euro equals let's say 100 rupees, and 1 pound let's say equals 120 rupees. Just for sake of calculation. That means, what is the value of this basket? Value will be 0.6 into 80. Value will be what? It's not working. Chalo, theek hai. 0.6 into 80, that is 48 rupees. 0.2 into 100, that is 20 rupees. 0.2 into 120, that is 24 rupees. 48 plus 20, 68 plus 24. 78, 88, 92. That means one single unit of this basket is equals to 92 Indian rupees, which is equal to 92 Indian rupees. So 92 Indian rupees is the effective exchange rate of Indian rupees against the basket of these currencies. This is how we calculate the effective exchange rate. Okay? I don't know why this is happening. So 0.6 dollars, 0.2 pounds, and 0.2 euros. Okay? So you have a basket which gives you 0.6 weightage is of dollars, 0.2 weightage is of euros, and 0.2 weightage is of pounds. Okay? So you calculate, I have given you $1 equals 80, 1 euro equals 100, and 1 pound equals let's say 120. So this basket is equivalent to 92 rupees for example. Okay? Now if there is a fluctuation in dollar alone, not in euros and not in pound, dollar from $1 equals to 80, it becomes $1 equals to let's say 110. So then what happens? What happens to the effective exchange rate? So this is 60, let's take for ease of calculation, take it 100. Let's say it becomes 100. Others are same. So 0.6 into 100 is 60 rupees. Then you have this again 20, 24. 20, 24 is 44 plus 60. What is it? 104 rupees. So your effective exchange rate fluctuated. Why? Because dollar fluctuated. If euro also fluctuates, again it will fluctuate. If this also fluctuates, again it will fluctuate. Okay? But fluctuation of dollar will be huge because 60% is traded in dollar. Fluctuation of euro will be also there, fluctuation of pound will also be there, but to different levels. It can decrease also. But since the Indian rupee is consistently depreciating against this currency, that is why we have taken this example. The other currencies can also depreciate. Is that clear? This is how you calculate the effective exchange rate. Okay? Again, another thing is, in November alone, again there has been another additional depreciation of 73 paisa. Now, this depreciation, in fact, in the month of November was 73 paisa. Now, up to now, it has been depreciated by another few paisa, so it has gone beyond 1 rupee of depreciation within a month and a half. Okay, so we have seen in the last 12 months, there was depreciation of 5 rupees. Now, in month and a half, it is depreciated by 1 rupee. So if it carries on with that pace, it's going to be 6, 7, 8 rupees of depreciation in around the year. Okay? So that is why the issue. You have understood the concept. Calculation they will not ask, it's just the concept that you have to know. It is effective exchange rate is nothing but Indian currencies exchange rate against a basket of currencies of 40 top trading partners. Online student, is that clear? Let's move ahead. Is the end of progress against poverty approaching? Okay, that means the progress is the progress to eliminate poverty ending or not, is what the question. Okay, so let me give you the gist of this entire article that is there. We have throughout the world, this takes into consideration all over the world, it's not related to India alone. So throughout the world, we have been able to eliminate poverty at a very high pace. Poverty as well as extreme poverty. But right now what is happening is the rate at which we were eliminating poverty is declining. Of course, see, it should decline. Why it should decline? When you have out of 1000 people, 900 people are poor and extremely poor, you put some amount of money to help them out, a lot of people will get out of poverty. Right? Now what happens when poverty percentage itself is less, then you have to direct the benefits to exactly those people. Right, rate of poverty, the number of poor people coming out of poverty will also decline because the overall number itself is less. Is that clear? So that is but obvious. But what else is happening over here is, they are seeing a possibility that instead of reduction in the percentage of poverty, now India has reached a level of extreme poverty of 5.3%. Right? They are thinking that there is a possibility that this 5.3% may reverse. That means instead of 5.3% going to 5, 4, 3, it would rather go to 6, 6.5 and 7. Is that clear? Now, this is not necessarily going to happen in India. They identify certain countries. So, the South Asian countries, they say, South Asian countries have removed poverty at a very fast pace and they may not see this kind of reversal. Then who are going to see this reversal? It is going to be the African countries that are going to see the reversal. Okay? Why is that claim being made in this article? Because the South Asian countries where highly poor, high poverty rate existed here also, but they have been a very fast growing economy. They have been a very fast growing economy. Okay? In our chapter discussion on growth and development, I said, for development, growth is necessary. Growth need not necessarily lead to development, but for development, growth is necessary. So the Asian countries have seen fast growing, are the fast growing economies. So they were capable, they eradicated, they removed, and they are still growing at a faster pace. Whereas the African countries, their growth is basically stalled. Their growth is basically stalled. They have been more dependent on the aids, on the dose that have been provided by the rest of the world, by United Nations, by everyone. Their own growth was not able to sustain this poverty eradication. Right? And now their growth is even declining more, as a result of which the African countries, their poverty might reverse. So when their poverty might reverse at a global level, we may see more people being extremely poor 5 years later than what they are now. The percentage of poor people 5 years later will be more than the percentage of poor people that is now. Is that clear? So there is a possibility that we are approaching an end in the progress that we were making in eradicating extreme poverty. Is that clear? So they are estimating this. They have given some numbers. What is this? So let's talk about what I've already told you. So if you see this, in the 1990s, poor live mostly in fast-growing Asian countries. Right? If you look at today's majority of extremely poor people, slow-growing sub-Saharan African economies, DR Congo, Burundi, Mozambique, Malawi, so on and so forth. So they are slow-growing. That is why it is really difficult, as a result of which the overall country's numbers are going to reverse in terms of extreme ending of poverty. Okay? Yes, online student. This is the projection. So in the previous 5 years, 831 million people were taken out. So this number is going to decline to 793 million. Okay? 2030 to 2040, this reversal will begin. So reversal estimatedly will begin from 2030 onwards. The percentage of extreme poor people is going to increase. What is it driven by? It is driven by stagnant economies. The economies are stagnant. Next is very high fertility rate. So if you look at the fertility rate of African countries, you have 6, 5, 4 depending upon different regions. In fact, this is over here. I think we have this map. Yes. So this is the fertility rate of the African countries. 2 to 3 children. This is 2 to 3. This is 2 to 3. Right? India is near replacement fertility. Okay? Yes, correct. But you look at this 6 to 7 children. 6 to 7 children. You have these regions wherein there are 6 to 7 children. 5 to 6 children. These oranges are what? 5 to 6 children. 4 to 5 children. These yellow are what? 4 to 5 children. 3 to 4 children is over this. So majority are what? Majority are 4, 5, 6, 7 children is what they are having. The growth rate is less. Per capita income will become lesser. Extreme poverty percentage is going to increase. Okay? Clear? So this is what the article is all about. There are a few questions over here. Let's try to answer them. With reference to Health Security Cess Bill 2025, consider the following. The cess introduced under the bill will be shared with states as per the Finance Commission formula. Cess does not get shared at all. Okay? So cess does not get shared at all. The cess targets machine-based manufacturing of products such as pan masala. Yes. Bill aims primarily to replace the GST compensation cess which was set to end. That is correct. Next is, yes. Consider following with respect to real effective exchange rate. A fall in REER below 100 indicates that rupee is undervalued. I'll explain this. So we have seen the basket, and which came out to be 92 basically. But the actual market rate of Indian rupee with respect to India's trading partners. Remember, we also trade with Kuwait, we also trade with Saudi Arabia, we also trade with Qatar. So their currencies are also 216, 250 rupees as well. So the overall, it comes out to be approximately, it's ranging from 105 to 100. This is the effective exchange rate. Question is, a fall in REER below 100 indicates that the rupee is undervalued relative to its trading partners. No, that's not the case. It's the other way around. Okay? That means for 1 unit of this currency you are paying, sorry, this should be 110. For 1 unit of currency you are paying 105. So if you have to pay less, that means rupee has basically appreciated. So again, it's same elimination, but let's have a look at it. India's REER has historically stayed above 100. Yes, it has stayed above 100. A fall in REER despite higher domestic inflation suggests nominal a fall in REER despite higher domestic inflation suggests nominal depreciation is also steep. Yes, the idea is basically for India, REER is also there is depreciation with respect to real also, there is depreciation with respect to near also. That means what? If you take into inflation into account, Indian rupee is depreciating. If you adjust for inflation, Indian rupee is still depreciating. In both the cases, Indian rupee is depreciating. That means inflation is not the reason for depreciation. Actually, Indian currency is lowering its value. If Indian currency would have been depreciating based on near, not as per real, that means what? Inflation is the cause. Okay? But the real value is going down. Next, most of the global extreme poor in 1990 lived in South Asia. That is correct. Presently, they live in sub-Saharan countries. Yes. Redistribution alone cannot eliminate extreme poverty in country where mean per capita income is below the poverty line. I'll discuss that. First is correct. Let's look at the third. Global extreme poverty is projected to fall continuously until, absolutely not. So 3 is incorrect, 1 and 2. Now let's understand this. Redistribution alone. Redistribution is what? Redistribution is you have 100 people, right? 70 people are above poverty line. 30 people are below poverty line. You take money from them, redistribute it to them to get them above the poverty line. Now there are countries wherein the entire population is below the poverty line. Redistribution is not going to work. Sudan, South Sudan, they are having high fertility rate, extreme poverty, below poverty line population is very high, civil rebellions, political instability, socio-economic backwardness, right? Terrorist organizations are there. All these things are happening at the same time in Sudan and South Sudan. Okay? So it's very difficult for them to, that redistribution alone will not work over there. There is no money to redistribute among the people. Everyone is poor. Okay? Is that clear? So that's about it. Please go through your articles as well. There are some articles which are IMF flags concern over India's GDP data. What the concern is, India's GDP based on the production method, that is the value added method, and India's GDP based on the income method are way different. Plus there is no explanation of this difference. So that is an issue. 8th economic census in 2027 it will be done. Tariff cover hits 1/5 of import. Tariff charges, it's taking a hit. This tariff related thing is going to be very important for your mains, probably, but let's see. Masala bonds, we know, rupee denominated bond for getting external commercial borrowings. India-US tax treaty tussle. Haircuts means the cuts in taxes, haircuts and asset valuation. And there is one current IBC performance snapshot. IBC is basically insolvency and bankruptcy code that was there. It was to resolve the liquidity or let's say bankruptcy situation of the organization. The issue I will tell you in brief is what? The time that should be taken to cover this was around 330 days is what you have to take. I think we have covered this one, right? But it is taking way more time than that. Okay? Sure. Thank you guys.